liked what you said yesterday during our consulting meeting, that the mindset shift from time self-employed to business owner, plus not thinking day to day, okay, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay my staff? You're starting to think longer term sustainability, retirement, vacations, saving for a rainy day. Like, there's so much. If we're under a fire all the time, you're going to eventually get adrenaline and stress out, versus let's get you a strong foundation so you can plan for what if this. Your practice, like you were joking yesterday, I tried to get away for an hour because it was just crazy. And our intention is to gradually get it so that you can go away for a week, you can go away for 2 weeks, you can go away for whatever stretch you want. Your practice is going to be running phenomenally with or without you.
Yes, that is a big goal. And I mean, I'm getting there, and I would
You
like
are doing awesome, yeah.
to do that as well, because I think that's what's going to make midwifery last. That's what's going to help midwifery grow. If it can be more realistic and more sustainable, I think we're going to go much further than what we've been taught in the past, to burn out and hang ourselves out, you know?
Yeah,
So
give everything and then wonder why the divorce rate is so high and our kids don't like us when we're older, because we gave everything, our identity. There's so few midwives don't retire because they're afraid. That's their identity the last 30-40 years. It blows my mind. Like, they just, part of it could be financial, part of it could be, but just the retirement is such a foreign word to midwives. Like, I'm like, because it's such our identity. So I'm trying to help. Like, you can still be an amazing midwife, but you transition to a teacher, you transition to something your body's a little more forgiving of. So it's a transitionary period. Like, you don't have to retire, but you probably can't squat and catch babies anymore. So let's figure out how your community is still going to get served when you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anything else, Anita, that you'd really love to talk about today? Any fun trends you're seeing with birth centers, or advice for someone that's starting a birth center?
I'm trying to think here. I think really just laying that foundation is going to be key, so that, you know, less hurdles. But I think we are moving towards back to our roots. You know, I like to say, like, it's not a new thing. Midwives have been around since the beginning of time. And so I do see a shift. There's a lot of data that's supporting that. There's a lot of studies that have done that. And it's exciting to see women making choices about, you know, taking that lead for their community on natural birth or out of hospital birth. And I think it's a trend, and I think we're gaining that momentum again, and it's exciting. I just want to see women make it more sustainable and long-term.
Yeah. I think, that sprinting or a marathon, and COVID, everybody's like, oh, isn't COVID so wonderful because it recognizes midwives and birth centers? I was like, they were already busting at the seams, that 1% to 2% of the population. Like, how many birth centers and midwives have retired and closed down the last 18 months is astronomical. We need to make it so they can be resilient. They're in that fire. They can't handle any unprecedented, unpredictable thing. Yes, it's a pandemic, but it just tips the scales of a lot of people's stressor points. When, if you had a cushion, you had a what if, you have a team that's strong and can handle a little extra versus everybody's busting at the seams, you can't handle any surprise that comes. So the whole point with business is being able to adapt and have exit plans and what if situations, and those take time to plan. And I think, or you may not even know what to plan for. I think that's the hard part with midwives is, I'm like, oh, I'm going to open a business and I'm going to have my services, my shop. And I'm like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? And they're like, I didn't even know that could happen. Like, how can you plan for something you didn't even know could happen to you? So that's the whole point of a consultant, is we're challenging you, those stressor points of, now you've got a plan, you've got an operation. What if there is a tornado? What if you can't have a birth? Do you have a generator? Like, what are you doing? What if you have to have a medical director in your state and you only have one and they get in a car accident and they retire quickly? What are you going to do? And a lot of the answers were the birth centers just closed overnight, and we don't want that answer.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. We need birth centers, we need midwives, we can never have enough. And it's not so much about, like, you know, there's this whole competition mentality, but it shouldn't be that way. It should be that we should be shouldering together and teaming up and building the community that we serve.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think reinforcing so much of the midwives have I mean, just our society as a whole, scarcity and fear and anxiety and unknown. And you and I are trying to inspire that other side, that abundance, that positivity, that creativity. We can solve any challenge. We can solve any problem. We just have to do XYZ training, tools, resources. So it's when you have challenges and pivoting points in your life, whether you worked for someone forever and then all of a sudden you want to open a practice, or you've always just dreamed about this birth center, you got to have plans for yourself. Like we talk a lot about self-care. I know Anita gets picked on often about me, but I'm in the same boat. Like I'll tell you, I'm like, okay, I haven't gotten my exercise in this week yet either, Anita, but business consulting and support isn't just starting a successful business plan. It's the midwife and the business mindset and the resiliency that person has, because we can make a business plan all day long, look beautiful, the numbers are excellent. That doesn't mean it's going to succeed.